It's time to get fired up for this Assist of the Week presented by State Farm. Just as things were getting mad, Kaori fired up the Infernum and absolutely scorched the teamfight hopes of the LEC squad.
Vulcan tries to make the play, the hostile takeover though, absolutely wild out of Kaiser, and Unforgiven is gonna find the kill. But Kaori with the turnaround of all turnarounds, Inspired is just too strong.
Behind 21 epic days of epicness. Behind 1 billion hours of drop jaws. Behind every match, every broadcast, every moment at League of Legends World Championship 2022 is the network capable of making it all happen. The Cisco Network, aka The Realm. Cisco, powering the future of esports.
This is the tale of a young hunter and his greatest battle. Together, the hunter and his love, the archer, defended their homes from the monsters that threatened it. With his Entofos in hand and his love by his side, the hunter felt invincible. But there were times, many times, when the archer urged the hunter to temper his skill with strategy. Unfortunately, the young hunter couldn't see that there is no monster greater than pride. And so, the archer moved on to other adventures, but he left behind one final gift. The hunter could finally see his monster. Arrogance. The archer had been right. His pride had torn them apart, but they finished the hunt together. And that is how the young hunter defeated his greatest monster.
Welcome back! You just got to look at the newest champion, K'Sante, a master hunter who hunts down monsters of every kind. He's got a distinct style and brings with him a brand new melee weapon in the League universe called Entofos. And I actually, in fighting games, it's one of my favorite weapon types.
Is it?
Yeah.
I saw him he had two spikes and they changed to different weapons. So
Yeah, I feel like you can incorporate elbows a little bit more.
get the elbows in there.
I imagine Lee Sin does
Go
that
for
as
a
well.
couple clotheslines.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Just calm down. All right, let's get into our second match of the day. This one is EG's second test, and JDG, being undefeated in this group, are definitely a formidable opponent.
Oh yeah, undefeated so far. So stakes for this game, for everyone out there at home and in the audience. If JDG win, they are locked quarterfinals. EG are not out mathematically. They will be sitting at 1-4, and Damwon is currently at 2-1. Now, what EG will need if they lose this game is for Damwon to go 0-3. But if EG win, they're definitely in the race here. But of course, like you said, tough task. JDG look really strong right now. They're looking like one of the World Championship favorites. We'll see if EG can put a dent in their domination.
Yeah, the easiest way to look at it, guys, is you can now have the 2-4 three-way tie at the end of the day. JDG would have to go undefeated, and then everything else can line up. However, it does just mean that EG not eliminated if they lose this game. and JDG will be locked if they win. So, Azir and Caitlyn to be taken away. I think the Azir ban extremely important. YaGao has been just amazing on that champion, and the Aatrox Yuumi, obvious bans on the red side.
Something I found very interesting about JDG is, on blue side, JDG is 26 wins and 5 losses in summer. On red side, there's 16 wins and 11 losses. Ooh. Now they're on red side here, so they're a very strong blue side team, but EG have taken that away from them. There's the Taliyah ban up against YaGao. We'll see what this last ban coming in here for JDG is.
Yep, I have a little bit of experience with blue side superiority, being an LCK commentator. All about it. As the Sejuani going to be taken away, the Taliyah ban I really like.
Maokai.
Kanavi just requires a little bit of extra flex respect, as Maokai is a big one. And could be Impact, could be Inspired. Kind of like it more for Impact, just because Inspired on carries has been very, very good.
He has really strong flex here. I wonder if EG want to lock in Maokai here and pick Lucian Nami on 2-3. JDG have been scouting them, and they might decide to take Lucian Nami away here. Yeah, smart decision here to deny Kaori Vulcan that dominant lane, that dominant 2v2 with one item spikes. We saw what damage they were doing last game up against G2, diving in the 2v2, so don't want to give that over to them. I hope was playing a little bit of Lucian in Champions Q, so Lucian Nami not dead just yet. The nerfs to the electrocute buff on the Nami E does hurt a little bit, but the Namis are going things like Airy, so still really, really powerful in that mid to late game. And also can pick up a different pick here. Can pick up jungle, can pick up a mid lane or something like the Victor with Azir being down and then picking Nami on 3, similar to what we saw EG do.
Yep, a lot of the big AD carries got nerfed as well. Like with Zeri now completely out, she was gutted. I feel like even though Nami got nerfed, things were brought down around it as well as, all right, we've got Kalista Renata locked straight in here for Kaori and Vulcan, and there is the Sylas as the follow-up. I thought maybe that would be coming in second just to make sure that that doesn't get picked away. Doesn't actually matter, as Inspired and Jojopyun are just going to lock away that bottom lane. Kaori and Vulcan straight out of the gate.
This draft just went from 0 to 100 real quick on the insta-locks. So EG were prepared for JDG to take it away and already had a response. YaGao's going to pick up the Sylas and ban away the Akali. We'll see what else he bans. Could target another mid laner, could deny a flex kind of top jungle from EG. We've seen things like Mordekaiser banned up against Impact. It depends on what 369 wants to play. 369 a very kind of heavy Renekton, Gnar, Sion player. So could be worth investing in a ban depending on how JDG want to play this game out. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Kanavi is not a tank jungle player. He will play carries only. Do you know who else is not really a tank jungle player? Inspired. Both these junglers will probably prioritize counts picking carries here. So we're in a situation where JDG might look to last pick jungle. We'll see what they do. Bel'Veth is another champ that I have in the back of my mind, is a very, very strong one. Elyoya shown games on it so far. Incredibly strong champion if it can get rolling. There's the Ornn ban up against 369.
Yep, we saw the Bel'Veth not necessarily used to perfection yesterday, but there is the Gangplank. That is going to be up against 369, certainly one of his best in the past, as we are just cycling through a few options. Kanavi probably going to lock away jungle here. Yeah,
Graves is the one that I'm thinking about here for Kanavi.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That's something he just wants to insta-lock here. Viego is a very LPL-esque jungler. We've seen some of them prioritize it, even banning it on blue side. But I think Graves is just so powerful in the meta right now. One of the strongest carry junglers. We'll see what Inspired can counter pick it with. Could take the Maokai right now and pick something for Impact in that top lane. But I really want to see Inspired match this with a carry. The problem with Graves is he's got such a good kit for dealing with AD junglers that AP junglers are innately his counter. But it's going to be very hard. I mean, we've seen Sett Nidalee come out here against Sylas before. It's Sett FiddleSticks! I love this from EG. So much more team fighting. Screw the Nidalee, get the Fiddlesticks in there. The Sett is good into Sylas.
I
like their plan.
Yeah, this is actually exactly what we were asking for after that Nidalee game. We're like, oh, but what if there was more damage? What if there was more AoE team fight control? Well, yeah, Fiddlesticks, he'll definitely be able to do that. The Pro Storm to dive in on top, and I'm so glad that you already mentioned that you probably want to get one of the AP junglers up against the Graves. Well, there we go, there's Fiddle.
Couple things. Now we've got 103 champions picked or banned here at Worlds with Fiddlesticks being locked in. This is 369's first Fiora game of Summer of Worlds. We'll see what he can get done in the isolated matchup up against Impact. But Inspired wants to get all his camps full clear till 6. And the beauty of the FiddleSticks is you leverage this Sett pick into Sylas, not so much as an aggressive pick, but as a pick that can cover your jungle. You know, Graves can't really invade you if he never has mid-push, so Jojo needs to keep eyes on YaGao, push in the lane, keep contesting him, and keep defending his jungler as much as possible. Bridge Inspired to that level 6, and man, Inspired will run rampant in teamfights. But Jojopyun needs to be on the money when it comes to using this ultimate, making sure he gets the right target into the backline so he lands next to Inspired. JDG need to ward their flanks as much as possible. I really love what EG have done here in the first 2 games so far. Pick the Shen. G2 haven't played against Shen probably all year long. Pick the FiddleSticks. Has JDG played against FiddleSticks in the LPL? I don't think so. So they're going to be very conscious of how to play against it, when to ward, and maybe they're a bit unsure of the limits of it. We'll have to see, but I think catching these teams off guard with picks that they haven't played against can be a very powerful thing. Yep,
I've got a Chronicler in the back of my mind talking to me right now saying that this is finally his time, finally the Fiddle. He's been asking for it all year. He's been incessant, it's been frustrating to deal with. Thankfully, Inspired has now put him out of his misery. We do finally have the Scarecrow picked up for that jungle position. Can EG find themselves some control in these lanes? Because the setup after level 6, man, it's amazing for Inspired on this FiddleSticks.
Everyone will remember, here comes the Crow Storm. Inspired, one of his pocket picks. I think he's 3-2 on it right now, 5 games total. He's actually playing Predator on this FiddleSticks. So he's looking for gank setup. He's looking to make plays when he gets those boots, gets towards level 6, can pop the Predator, pop the ult over the wall and chase them down. And we'll see what JDG's level 1 plan is here, because 369's getting already aggressive onto Impact. The late invade topside from Graves Fiora is really strong. EG needs to be very careful here, because if Inspired starts on his Wolves and tries to do some kind of double camp shenanigans, Kanavi will be there to shut it down. So JDG think that level 1 is the way to deal with this. He's hiding in around the corner here. 369 trading really heavily.
Yeah, the wraparound is so scary. Impact is actually just going to face check the Graves, just going to flash, get himself out of dodge, and immediately Inspired is out of there, going to be starting on that bottom side. But JDG not wasting any time, just early invading this FiddleSticks to get him off to the worst start possible.
Yeah, look at what Inspired's doing. He's just running to the enemy blue buff 1 minute 30 seconds in. He realizes if he gets triple quadranted here in jungle and loses 3 buffs, then he's basically screwed. So he's saying, let's just force our way in here. Graves is topside. It hurts the EG bot lane a little bit because they have the hard trade to push the Lucian Nami back, but it covers Inspired so that he can actually get 2 quadrants of jungle and look for that full clear up against Kanavi. So we have a split map right now. Inspired will do blue and Gromp, move towards Wolves. We expect, because he has the mid push, so YaGao cannot collapse on him. And we expect Kanavi to do Gromp Wolves and full clear his top side as well. So split map, I think, favors EG because they have a tank top. And they don't really mind too much about putting Impact behind. The only worry is Impact has no flash. Needs to be careful on stacked wave dives or overextending in this lane.
Yep, just fantastically mitigated here on the side of EG to make sure they don't lose out on everything. Like you say, just going to clear out the entirety of each other's blue side. It's Kaori and Vulcan going to be pushing forward. This feels nice for EG as well, considering the fact that Kaori and Vulcan will have a lot of control in this lane, and now they know that their jungler is going to be always towards that bottom side for that first clear. So an opportunity to really put the screws in, try and play out this early game aggressively as Inspired looking for the river. Look at the 3-lane view. Facebreaker coming down onto YaGao. He's just going to dash his way out.
Yeah. Good trading here by Jojo in these early stages. Sett dominates the Sylas in the level 1 to 5, of course, because Sylas has to walk up for the creeps, and that's easy for the Sett to pull him in and get some damage down. JDG freezing this bot wave here, winning out on the trades against EG as Kaori tried to crash the wave. No mana left, and JDG have a lot of sustain with the Nami. So EG in a bit of a precarious situation on this bottom side of the map. There is a split map though, so they don't have to be too worried. The W doesn't connect there. Jojo maybe had dive pressure there if that actually landed with the true damage.
This is a lot of value here from Jojo, and a lot of pressure being put on early. We've spoken about mid-pressure throughout this entire tournament, and yeah, Evil Genius is certainly having a heck of a lot of it this time around. Wave's going to meet yet again, but EG, decent start, and they had a decent start last time. They met JDG as well last week. See whether this time it's going to work out, because JDG, their ability to transition from early to mid-game in a phenomenal gold advantage has been brilliant this tournament. Inspired is coming down, spotting what's going on. This is what we mentioned, babysitting capability of the FiddleSticks certainly there. Kanavi just going to grab himself another camp. Slightly, oh no. Still, you farm very, very quickly on good old FiddleSticks.
Yeah, Graves, FiddleSticks, Nidalee, these champs are really quick at clearing out their camps. So Kanavi's on a full clear. Gromp is the next camp to respawn on EG's side, but he wants to put a ward down and hover around here. We'll see if he sticks around for the respawn. It's still around 20 seconds till it comes back up. Yeah, looking for something towards the top. EG's bot lane getting a little bit pushed in. Inspired as base. Look at his first item. Sorcerer shoes with Predator, and he's running bots. If JDG cannot crash his wave, he could look for a gank. You know, Predator running at them, Flash Fear, something like this onto the Nami. Could be a really free kill. First blood here. Kanavi is going to wait around for that respawn Gromp and get a second clear going. Watch Inspired, watch Missing. He's the target.
Oh, Handshake's fantastic. The bubble connects, though. As Hope taking half of his health bar for now. Inspired, Predator, he's booking it. After Hope and Missing gets the exhaust already. Immediately the cleanse comes out to get rid of the fear. And Inspired will say thank you very much. But here is the turn. Hope now trying to get himself out. Marshall Poe's going to bounce carry after them. And oh man, Missing just barely out of range of that handshake. That could have been first blood. Crab Rave coming through. And now YaGao dancing after Jojo. Kanavi makes his way to the mid lane. There's the flash forward. Gets the flash to answer there from Jojopyun. So EG losing out on some summoner spells, but no first blood yet.
Even across the board, it's basically a heal for cleanse trade. EG win out because the exhaust was used. Flash for flash trade between the mid jungle. Inspired really wants to look for Missing there, I think, but I think he realized his team doesn't have enough gap close. I'll fear the Lucian, get his cleanse and force that out, and then we'll call it a day. Very close on that handshake. 369 has been freezing this wave on the TP back, and Impact's been struggling this game. You know, he's been on a split map, he's been in a very tough matchup in the isolation. It's expected that he falls behind in the lane right now. EG just need to leverage their mid and bot side now. Jojo up in creeps, Inspired slowly getting close to that level 6. Needs a level and a half before he arrives there, but that's the sweet spot for EG with the Sett and the FiddleSticks to start making plays around mid or around side lane.
Well, 369 actually will throw down the ult here. The grand challenge has been issued as Impact just puts his back to the wall and says, nope, you're not getting this one. That is going to deny the healing field. And 369 still going to win out on the trade. Still, not the end of the world for the Maokai, who just wants to survive as best he can.
So Inspired's just wandered into Kanavi's top side, took his Raptors, taking his Krugs. He knows that bot's crab's up, so he's sacrificing his bot lane a little bit. I wonder if he looks for a top gank. He has the Predator. Do they have the damage to kill 369 is the question. If 369 wastes W, he could be in trouble. Inspired lingering, no red buff. Not a lot of damage. He's just going to call it off and say, I don't think we can make this happen. I do want to keep farming. Blue buff is spawning, but EG's bot lane needs to be careful here. They could get a stack wave on top of them and look for a dive. The Graves is still up in experience right now. He's just been full clearing on cooldown while Inspired looks for that bot gank, but he's going to turn it into a dragon instead.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster there for Impactors. Another handshake does come through here on the bottom side. Hope, piercing light, a lot of damage. Dashes after Kaori. He just turns it, and they're trying to get the reset. They don't quite do it, but it's a 1-for-1. Hope being alive is definitely important here for JDG, but Vulcan wanting to try and fight it. Not going to work out here, of course, not with the damage availability. Kanavi going to take themselves the Drake. And JDG, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but I think you'll take it if you're the LPL representative.
Vulcan needs to be careful here. He thinks he has kill pressure on the Hope, but it's all a bait. Kanavi coming.
Oh dear, smoke screen comes down. Handshake once again going to get sidestepped. The flash has to come out, and at least Vulcan will survive.
Really nice try there by Kaori on the turn with the bailout, trying to get the kill onto Missing, because then they maybe could have turned onto Hope. But the Ignite takes Missing down. Here comes the level 6 for the Fiddlesticks. Do we have a mid play here? Missing is hovering around and will show, so Inspired will call it off. They're looking for Jojo though, so Inspired can turn this if they overextend. Bubble misses. YaGao wants to catch the wave. Inspired will look for plays around this map right now. Doesn't have any extra AP, but with these tier 2 boots can move around the river extremely quickly. And with no flash on Missing, I think that'll be the window that EG look for after Inspired finishes these bot camps.
Yeah, 369 looking for an opportunity here. There's the riposte, doesn't get the stun. Good timing there from Impact, not wanting to give any extra CC over to 369, who's just having a great time in this lane, as you can see. The farm is extraordinarily in the Fiora's favor. Expected, but also not great news here for EG.
Maokai will be stronger in just a straight-up 5v5. So let's take a look at this bot play again. EG trying to stop the bot wave from crashing. The bubble connects onto Vulcan. He's the initial target, but Hope actually focuses down Kaori. Gets a lot of damage onto him, dashes forwards again. The bailout connects, so Kaori just says, let's go forwards. Just about misses the kill onto Missing. Doesn't pick that one up. I think he flashed there as well, which kind of stings, but 1-for-1 is not the end of the world. Jojo now contesting mid waves. Vulcan behind him. Inspired is clearing out his camps. And I think what we might see towards the 20-minute mark is the FiddleSticks catching waves and the Sett just being there for presence on mid waves. We'll see if they try to funnel this FiddleSticks a little bit more gold, because right now he's behind. But Herald fights is where EG want to be. Hostile takeover, the Sett ult, the FiddleSticks ult, the Crow Storm. There's so much to work with in such a tight space.
Yep, I really like your idea as well. Give Inspired as much money as possible. His sole AP source. And that is going to mean that the FiddleSticks extraordinarily important as far as damage is concerned. On a later stage, he's thrown down some scarecrows as well around this map also. And here we go. So they managed to lock down the Rift Herald. That is definitely great news, but Hope looking to try and answer back with a couple of plates. We've spoken about this many times before. Couple of plates is the price as Vulcan. Oh, he's going to get tidal wave. That is not the surfing trip he wanted. And Missing's going to be able to lock down the kill on his opposite number.
Jojo running bot here with Kaori, trying to cover the dive in a 2v3. Impact almost has the TP up, so this could backfire for JDG if they try to overforce. It looks like they'll take the plates and back away. Inspired can be the one to catch this mid-wave, while Jojo is the one juggling these lanes. Does have that lead over YaGao, who just ticked over to that level 8. And Kaori should be able to catch this wave very safely. You can see what JDG do when the Herald started up. They just go so deep into your bot side jungle, knowing that you're top side, and Vulcan face checks into the wrong brush.
Yeah. Certainly feels like EG just bleeding a little bit at this stage. JDG now moving up to a 2,000 gold lead. Impact taking damage here from 369 as well. And I feel like EG need to be able to find an angle in this game. They haven't quite got to just yet. Presence lying in wait in the brush here on the top side. But JDG just not giving them those windows, not giving them those mistakes. And this is kind of what happened in JDG's series against Darmonkir, right? Like, they just spent so much of the game not giving anyone any opportunities. And it's happening once again. Grand Challenge being issued. There it is. Able to get all those weak points. But Impact, yeah, he's a pretty tanky tree.
Should be able to catch this wave and TP back. The question is, does 369 go for the dive onto him? Gets the Demolish proc. Will decide to back away. Impact needs to base the TP here, but you're completely right. EG need to find avenues back into this, need to find plays. Missing's flash just came off cooldown, so he's feeling a lot safer. And he's been warding his bot side jungle so much that JDG are using information. If he's bot side, we see him. If he's not bot side on the wards, he must be top side. 369 really close to finding the dive here. Impact's dead.
Yep, the flash lunge is going to pick it up. Weak point in the right position. Gets the dab out as well, as 369 will just move into the brush and look for the back.
Does he get there in time? Inspired. He could go for the flash E here.
Yeah, flash E is definitely going to be the option. Oh, doesn't even need it. There we go. The answering kill, and that is on the most important member of EG to get kills as well in this FiddleSticks.
I wonder if EG, they're probably happy with that. FiddleSticks getting a kill always helps out. Impact dying, not the end of the world. Good play by 369 to get that 1v1 kill under tower. Big CS lead for him as well. It's only going to get worse. Inspired now around mid. Kanavi spotting him on the ult though.
Yeah, there's the Crow Storm. But yeah, YaGao just going to flash. Not wanting anything to do with that one whatsoever. As now Jojo in a little bit of trouble. Does still have Haymaker available for a bit of shielding. Drain comes through. YaGao. Oh, that is a scary ultimate to steal.
A very scary ultimate, because now JDG can run bolt and try to threaten the dive with a FiddleSticks ult. EG need to wait for this FiddleSticks ult to come back up on Inspired to be able to contest, but YaGao can just ult over this wall if he wants to, and then just start running at the EG bot lane. Has the E as well if he just wants to dash over and just full commit. This is going to be a scary Sylas. EG needs some help down here. They have a TP.
Yeah, the teleport is coming forward. Impact doesn't have his. But at least Jojo's going to turn up and deter JDG. Still, JDG picking themselves up a teleport for their trouble. And Impact now fighting against 369. The news doesn't get better on that top side unless Impact can find himself these team fights that we were talking about. JDG just going to move over, take themselves this second Drake of the game, see what the soul is going to be. Of course, I'm hoping for a Cloud. It's going to be a mount far more relevant, as Inspired looking to turn up. Finally, giving Impact some assistance. Trying to turn it here. It's a lot of CC available as the drain's going to come through. 369 going to struggle with this one. He's still fighting, but Inspired will be able to grab that kill. So, EG now, they also have the Rift Herald, and Shelly is going to grab some plates for Impact. Some much-needed gold for the tree.
I just loved how Inspired played that. Just walked up to 369, heralded in his face, and then feared him and started using the drain. There was not much 369 could do because he couldn't get through the health bar. So the crash comes in. Kaori's actually lane swapped up here. JDG's bot lane moving towards mid, and YaGao is here to respond. He's a bit scared of getting dove though, so he's going to look for Impact and Inspired, who has the ultimate coming back up very soon. Contesting the red buff will take it away. Kanavi.
Yeah. Kanavi's just going to get hand shook back. There's a lot of CC available, but there's a lot of damage on the side of JDG. There's the showstopper into the backline. Kanavi's going to get picked up. He make it to the face, and now Vulcan's looking to just exit this one if he can. Kaori in the front line. That's not where he wants to be. Flashes to get out. Vulcan not so lucky. There's EG running for the hills now. 369 dashing forward. YaGao doing the same. YaGao picks it up. The repose comes through. It's a decent ulti, and it's a double for YaGao. There's the ace at 14.5 minutes.
EG are wiped in the top side jungle. They get the red, they get Kanavi, but they do not get out. Inspire tried to turn with the ultimate there onto JDG, but there was no follow-up left. All of EG was falling, and now JDG can focus down this top tier 1 TP bots from YaGao because of the death timers to look for the bot tier 1. Hope's gonna get the mid tier 1. All 3 altars might just fall on top of that ace.
Yeah, it looked kind of good at the beginning for EG, and then immediately afterwards did not. YaGao showing the power of Sylas into FiddleSticks.
Wow.
That is a lot of damage, and yeah, like, give him an inch and JD will just win the game, as it turns out.
Yeah, they really will. So the bot tower, it looks like it's alive, but it's extremely low. So Inspired doesn't have the ultimate. They pull Kanavi in, and they get the Ignite on top of him. Vulcan flashes out. YaGao's trying to chase, so Jojo has to peel. He then pulls Kanavi back in, uses the W true damage to get the kill. But I feel like Jojo and Impact are just a little bit too deep here, and Vulcan's just too low. YaGao kites it out while he's waiting for 369. Kaori is on the front line, so he has to flash away. Vulcan falls, and Inspired's ultimate is back up. He's looking for an angle and decides to turn on the top side here, but EG are just way too low. Kaori can only get a couple auto attacks in on top of that ultimate, and they all fall.
Yeah, it just wasn't the damage you expect from the Crowstorm, and of course it's early in the game as well. Yeah, things not necessarily going so well in that fight. Still, EG not down and out just yet. And we've got a bit of a split map. 1-3-1, certainly a possibility here for JDG with the Fiora and the Sylas. Their side lanes are very, very scary. And they're also going to take the Herald. This feels like cake and eat it too, you know?
Yeah, we'll see if EG can cross-map that bot tier 1. No TP on 369 means they should be able to pick that one up, but that's a guaranteed tower with the Herald, and it might be a guaranteed tier 2 to rub salt into the wound of EG. Where's the response? Vulcan's base. Kaori's on his way up. Inspired's next to Vulcan. 4-man on the way to defend this tier 2. Herald popped. YaGao no TP. This could be a window here for EG to try to turn if JDG overextend. They have the numbers advantage, and JDG are unaware.
Yep, Bounty Gold also going over to the Sett here is now Impact. Looking for an opportunity. There's the Crowstorm immediately going to get knocked up. Oh man, the counterplay here from JDG just too good against Evil Geniuses right now.
They're playing at a perfect range. The FiddleSticks ult just out of range. The hostile takeover cannot connect. Hope's pushing in mid. All the meanwhile, these towers are going to start to fall. Bot tower is going to die as well as Jojo moves towards mid. EG need to look for a fight, but they just lost 3 crucial ultimates.
Yeah, it's so difficult, and JDG just going to move past this tower. Impact taking a fair bit. Hope going to throw down the ult. Jojo just walks past him, realizes that he's not really going to be able to fight this one out. Haymaker, a lot of damage is now Inspired. Just going to get them a drain on their way out. Okay, missing, going to get Twisted advanced. But it's just no damage available here from Impact. The Grand Challenge is going to be issued. I don't know whether it was necessary at that point in time. As the handshake onto Kanavi here, and JDG, they are just too strong. And you can see EG just feeling that desperation right now.
The way EG's comp works is it's like an explosion on top of all the members of JDG, right? You have the Maokai ult, the FiddleSticks ult, the hostile takeover, the Sett ult. There's no real room to work with. But when those ultimates are on cooldown, or if you fail the engage, JDG have so much mobility and chase potential and DPS that EG just can't keep up. So despite Impact finding missing there, no one can really do any damage, barring Kaori maybe if he's in range. It's really hard for EG. They need to make sure they land their shot on top of JDG, but it's so hard. JDG, so much mobility.
Yeah, finding those windows is so difficult. It's a 9,000 gold lead as well, as we've got things moving up to like 40 CS advantages for 369 here on the top side of the map. And just the leads are extending all over the board. 369 also able to take away this blue buff. And this is a guy that's been so scary, especially this year, but for so long, just in general. This player is just really found his angles And EG are bearing the brunt of it right now.
They are. EG need to look for a neutral objective fight. They haven't really found one yet. They need a dragon fight so that it's actually around the river, so the FiddleSticks can find many different angles to get this ultimate across onto JDG. But no vision means it's so hard for Inspired to walk in. Looks like they'll give this one up, so JDG will put themselves on Soul Point. The cross map coming in for EG now as they all run towards this top side. Top tier 1 is an objective bounty. 369 is just constantly pushing these waves in right in front of Jojo despite being on the weak side. So no cross map available for EG. They give up and go back towards mid. And it's all JDG this game.
Yep, you saw 369 just slink into Fog of War and then pop out again as soon as this streak was 100% guaranteed, and they got the information that they needed. A fair few wards down here for EG, but while we have a second of your time, I have to just remind you that our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz is up next. Darmonkia taking on G2. G2 desperate to bounce back. And then JD Gaming waiting in the wings afterwards against both of those teams. We'll see whether they remain the raid boss.
That game is do or die for G2. Up next, if they lose, they are out of World 2022. But JDG with this almost 10,000 gold lead need to close this one out to put themselves 4-0 and to lock themselves into quarterfinals. EG now on this bot side, 369 top with no TP. EG could try to force a numbers advantage, but Jojo doesn't really have anywhere to TP in. No wards behind JDG.
Yep, YaGao finding himself a Maokai ultimate here as well. 369 almost killing Jojo underneath the turret here. There's the flash forward. Showstopper comes out, immediately flashes over him as well, and Jojo will survive. But 369, he can possibly just do that again as he walks back to his minion wave.
Ult and flash trade on both sides, but yeah, the Fiora just destroys the Sett on side lane right now. There's a Sylas Maokai ult used to just zone EG away so that JDG can get this bot tier 2. 6 towers for them. Now all that's left is the base to crack open. Baron is up 20 minutes into the game. JDG will transfer all their pressure towards this top side of the map and then dare EG to walk into them as they try to start it and turn. They have so many tools to do so. Things like the Nami ult taking away the FiddleSticks ult on the Sylas. It's going to be very difficult for EG to find an angle. It's going to be very difficult to even find vision.
I mean, Hijack is just so much value this game as well. I mean, Crowstorm and Nature's Grasp, not to mention Showstopper being pretty good if you can find the angle into the backline. As soon as YaGao hits level 16 and being able to use a couple of those ults in a team fight, that is very, very scary. EG wanting to deny a Baron take here because, of course, still relatively low range is JDG. So sieging things out becomes a lot easier with that Baron available.
That's a scary Lucian though, isn't it? Hope just picked up the Infinity Edge, 60% crit, i.e. one dash forwards with the mandate on the Nami, and he is going to shred through EG. So EG realized we can't get vision, but we need to find a way to contest this Baron. If JDG get it, the game is as good as over. Jojo, no flash on the side. Impact matching 369 right now. Just doing his best to weather the storm. 2 levels down. I think 369 will just push the next wave and then ignore the Maokai and start hitting onto the tower. EG have 2 options. Try to collapse on the Fiora, get the kill, and then invest their double TP to match the 4v4 top side, or try to look for a fight on this top side with Impact TPing in.
Yeah, they're just getting stretched around the map though. You can see Jojo, he went for the back. 369 getting collapsed on. Can they actually find an angle is the question. Kaori just getting shredded as Inspired dashes forward. The fear is just not enough, and Hope has the damage back. He flashes after Kaori as well, and that is just a double. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they're trying to kill 369, but it is taking so much effort, and now YaGao looking for it on the back line. Does lock down a hostile takeover for himself, but in the meantime, there is a Lucian just obliterating the base of EG. Hostile takeover does just glide by without hitting anyone, but EG, they're trying to flash to get back to their base if they can. Impact now just routed. There's the flash twist in advance, looking to try and lock this one down onto missing. It's just the Nami though. The Haymaker does so much, and at least they're able to get the Bramble Blade smashed down to lock up the Nami. YaGao goes golden. Now 1 versus 3, looking for even more. Meanwhile, we do have Lucian now backing away from the Nexus turrets as bailout going to be utilized here. Jojo not able to get that reset, the flash out from Kanavi, and he's just doing cleanup. There's the chain, it's going to miss. And Impact makes it out.
It's an absolute bloodbath, and EG are really grasping for straws, trying to find 369. They get the kill. The rest of JDG collapse. The destruction has been done to their base. They've lost the mid inhib. They've lost their bot tier 3. They might lose Inspired here.
Yeah, Inspired just trying to throw down the CC to get out of this one, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Tries to drain tank there as best he can. The 369 just does so much damage now.
And I think that's the nail in the coffin now. JDG just so far ahead. They can get a Dragon Soul, they can get a Baron, they can crack open a bot inhib. They have a plethora of options. That was EG's last stand. Tried to pick off the Fiora and then use TPs to invest to defend the Baron, but JDG don't even walk towards it. They just collapse back on top of EG. Looked like they could turn the 3v1 onto YaGao, but then Kanavi arrived and just shut them down. Down goes the Baron. Impact maybe looking for 369 here again. Doesn't have the flash up just yet. All of EG running down here looking for a single pick. Dragon's up in 15 seconds though, and they won't have time to secure that because JDG, the second this falls, will move down towards that bot side you expect, or just start the siege on this top tier 3.
Yep, Baron's going to be taken, and now they can move towards that top side if they would like to. They don't have to go for this straight whatsoever. They can just let EG have it if they would like to, or take it a little bit later. They can just try and break open the base. Jojopyun, oh my goodness, 369 does so much damage here. Grand Challenge was issued, but it was not by the Sett, and now JDG with 4 strong push down the top wave. With Baroned up minions, this may just be the end of the game, Kadro.
It is just the end. It's Inspired's ult that is left to save them, but YaGao wants to take it away. Predator pop, there's the ult, but YaGao just pops the stopwatch. There's nothing left for EG.
Yep, the Zonya's going to be used there. 369 actually taking more damage than he'd otherwise want, but now we're going to get the celebratory kills. We've got hostile takeovers everywhere, and now onto the fountain go EG. JDG just too damn good as they move to 4-0 in this group, looking like the best here by a large margin.
That's a quarterfinals lock there for JDG, moving to the next stage here in New York. 25-minute game, incredibly one-sided. I liked what EG came out with. I liked the idea of the FiddleSticks. They wanted to run back the Sett, but they just slowly bled out like you highlighted.
Yeah.
And JDG just took over the game.
And it's I'm starting to understand the Fiora priority, Kadril. We saw a few times that the Fiora wasn't able to get off the ground, but if she does get into a position where you can sit in a side lane and give the rest of your team that flexibility, oh my goodness, 369 really utilizing it beautifully. And this JDG, definitely favorites.
Yeah, looking really, really scary right now. And Fiora is not a pick that I associate with FLICKR or 369, but both of them just pulling it out here at the tournament and having exceptional performances. So this carry top meta for the LPL looking strong.
Yeah, I actually associate 369 with Wukong. Getting those sick Wukong outplays.
Yeah.
His Kled as well has also been fantastic in the past, but like you say, hasn't necessarily been that big split pusher. But yeah, he definitely is. He can definitely do it, don't you worry.
And like we talked about during the game, next game, G2 Damwon, I think if G2 lose, they're out. If Damwon win, I think EG might be out as well. I think the Western hopes rely on G2 now because the West needs Damwon to go 0-3 if they want to have a chance at forcing a tiebreaker to pull themselves back up through this group stage. But it's looking dire. Yesterday, 2 teams were knocked out for the West, and today could be a similar story.
Yeah, exactly right. Actually, all of the hopes now, even for EG, resting on G2's shoulders. Pretty ridiculous that, you know, EG put themselves in the position by taking down G2. Now they're going to have to knock on their door and say, hey, by the way, can you win so that we can have a chance?
And then if G2 win, they need to knock on EG's door and say, you need to be down one as well, buddy. So need to join forces here with the handshake. But it's going to be a really tough task. JDG, though, looking flawless.
They are looking absolutely amazing. An opportunity to go flawless in their group as well. In a few minutes, Shox will be speaking with JDG's Hope. But while they ready up, we're heading over to the State Farm analyst desk to break down that game.
Thank you so much, Atlas. JDG continue to look like a formidable opponent as they take down EG, keep their undefeated streak alive in the group stage. Important to note, EG not quite out of it yet when it comes to the knockouts.
Technically.
Yeah.
We have
but
hope.
no longer in total control of their own destiny.
Who else has hope?
I want to hear it. And we'll be talking to him later. All right. Let's take a look at the draft because once again, EG pulls out a couple of interesting things. Obviously, a lot of people are going to jump to that FiddleSticks for Inspired in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, I actually
really like this. Like previously, we've seen I was a little hesitant around the Sett mid due to damage in the previous composition they played in, which I believe was also the Nidalee comp that I did not like as well. But here you have like Kalista, Renata, super strong, and then obviously Inspired's FiddleSticks, a pocket pick for him, something we haven't seen in a while. I actually kind of like this for EG. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great stream. It's a great teamfight option alongside the Sett mid. This is the second time that we've seen Sett mid into the Sylas pick, and in lane, it actually has performed really well. Even when he was ganked earlier on, he was able to still keep up in lane. Problem was the side lanes.
You gotta be able to have the pressure. And if this plays go the other way, which is something we said for top esports as well, maybe if they're on the same page and Vulcan flashes forward, gets the reset, then something could have happened. But if your Renata, Kalista lane doesn't get leads and gets shoved in early, it becomes incredibly hard to play.
Well, more importantly, we've talked about top laners that you can just kind of leave on their own and dominate lane, right? And even though Inspired does come in, get the tap for the kill in the end here, 369 is one of the top laners we've talked about as potentially one of the best top laners at this event, along with Zeus that we mentioned at top of day. And he did so well in this lane with very little interference.
Yeah, even just living a little bit way too long in this situation. But yeah, like the build up to that dive that he had versus Maokai, he had a stun, picked up a good ulti, like he was just chipping at Maokai throughout the entire lane. So it was just a pretty large advantage in both side lanes, and it made it really difficult for Inspired because, yeah, you're going for a pick that kind of requires support, requires the setup around objectives for you to fire off a great ulti, but then it was mostly JDG taking over. In fact, especially the Sylas pick.
Yeah, I appreciated the aggressive looks and the attempts by EG, showing quite a bit of fight, but as we've seen time and time again with a number of LPL squads, and JDG in particular, once they get that early bit of a lead, they are so comfortable just running it forward.
It's also, understandably for EG, they're like, maybe this is a weakness, maybe we can get him, but with a pick like Kalista, you need to have good setup, otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything in the fight.
Well, as was promised just a moment ago, we're now heading down to join Shox and Hope on stage for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much indeed. After a flawless run by JDG so far, my first question would be if you felt like you had to change your game plan in any way, shape, or form after the FiddleSticks lock-in, which was quite the surprise.
那首先恭喜你们，现在也是4战全胜。第一个问题要问到的是游戏当中的一些内容。其实对面也选出了一个不常见的一个打野英雄，也是稻草人嘛。所以说，可能看到稻草人之后，整体的一个队伍的思路有什么改变吗？
因为 Kanavi 选手比较强嘛，所以就不需要什么改变。
Because Kanavi is just a very strong player, so to be honest, we don't have much changes in our game plan.
Okay. Over in the LPL, you're known to be a very aggressive player in the lane as well as outside of that. How much do you feel you've been able to play towards your own style, even against the best in the world at this World Championship?
其实，在 LPL 后备选手也一直以非常有进攻性的打法被大家所熟知。那来到全球总决赛、世界赛的舞台上，你觉得你面对那些非常强的对手的时候，你觉得你整体的打法风格有什么样的一些改变吗？去适应？
就是每把的 BP 阶段出来之后，队伍需要做的改变是不一样的，所以就看阵容改变风格就行了。
Maybe I would like to say like my playstyle is really depends on the needs of the team, the needs based on our draft. So I would like to change my playstyle based on our draft.
Based on that, it is your first time at Worlds, but your top side of the team has some experience. Is there any way in which they help you to feel more comfortable and to be able to be comfortable in these games?
那其实这一次也是候补选手第一次的一个全球总决赛的征程，但其实你们其他的队员像上中也都是有过一些经验的，所以说他们有怎么样去帮助你，可能更好的、更舒服的来在台上打比赛吗？
就是他们会一直鼓励我们下午2个嘛，因为我们都是第一次进现在，就是给我们经常的支持，还有游戏里的帮助。
So both Missing and I, the two of us, is a rookie towards championship. So the three of them will just give some help to us inside the game and outside the game.
Okay, and final question, undefeated so far. It would be huge if you can go undefeated throughout this group stage. How confident are you that you can pull off the 6-0?
现在是4-0，其实距离全胜6-0也只有2场比赛，所以说6-0全胜出现，你有多大的自信呢？
就是按照这一把的状态的话，应该是很大概率吧。
we can maintain a very good form like today's game, I believe we still have very high potential to go off the stage with a 6-0.
Definitely do. Thank you so much, and thank you as well, Wendy. We're going to kick it over to a quick break, but when we come back, we have our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, G2 Esports versus Dalmonkia. Be right back.
Oh, really? Is Shen your best champion of all time, if you could choose one?
I think so.
Damn.
You know which one's Kaori's?
Which one? I don't know.
Ours. I still think we'll go.
His Lucian is pretty whatever, no?
Yes, Lucian's alright.
Lucian's alright.
There's EG running for the hills now. 369 dashing forward. YaGao doing the same. YaGao picks it up. The repose comes through. It's a decent ulti. And it's a double for YaGao. There's the ace. Now we're going to get the celebratory kills. We've got hostile takeovers everywhere. And now onto the fountain go EG. JDG just too damn good as they move to 4-0 in this group, looking like the best here.
Yeah, that's the most I can give you.
Fine. Then it's time for the ace up my sleeve. My beloved squishy pig with
original holographic cover art.
Hey, Ash, what you selling?
Save the references, Jake from State Farm. I'm saying goodbye. This little piggy went to the game store.
You don't have to sell your favorite games. State Farm has coverage options, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Thanks, Jake. Hands off the squish!
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.